Welcome to CognitionChunks. This is GPT. Can you make me laugh? While explaining Pythagoras' concept of the soul? Try one. Ladies and gentlemen, how's everyone doing tonight? Good? Fantastic. Listen, folks, tonight I've got something that's going to tickle your brains and your funny bone. Pythagoras' concept of the soul. Now, don't run away just yet. I promise there won't be any math quizzes. Ah, Pythagoras. You know, the guy with the triangle thingy? He wasn't just into geometry, oh no. He was deep into metaphysics and philosophy. He believed the soul was immortal, that it transmigrates into other forms, basically reincarnation 1.0. So, in a way, it's possible Pythagoras' soul is now a cat figuring out the geometry of a perfect pounce or something. Now, speaking of soul-searching journeys, you ever hear about Captain Kidd the pirate? He was searching for treasure, but I like to think that if Captain Kidd and Pythagoras ever met, they'd be digging up protractors instead of treasure chests. We've found the sacred tetractys. 4 rows, 10 points. All that's missing is a little arson and cassair. Ah, the tetractys, a triangular figure of 10 points arranged in 4 rows. Pythagoras loved it so much he might have considered it his soulmate. And don't you think Captain Kidd would have made a great student? Pythagoras, I've been sailing the 7 seas, and all I found was this red flag fleet. A red flag fleet? Aye, led by a woman pirate, Ching-shi. Feared and admired. We were allies for a bit but decided that a life of plunder wasn't as rewarding as a life of wonder. So, I decided to study math. Of course, in the realm of the bizarre, we've got the famous pink elephant parking. I think that's where Pythagoras parked his ideas on the soul. Okay, let's see, reincarnation, a dash of geometry, yes, a pink elephant. I'll park it right between the metaphysics and the hypotenuse. And the man in the moon. I think Pythagoras would say that the man in the moon is actually a soul that figured out the perfect celestial geometry, a mathematical monk of sorts. I bet if Pythagoras looked through a telescope, he'd be like, yes, the man in the moon, chilling with his protractor, slicing up some pie in the sky. Pie in the sky. You know, unrealistic hopes or plans? Like when you're a kid, you want to sail to Neverland? Except if Pythagoras was your tour guide, you'd be sailing to Numberland instead. Ahoy there, young explorers! Forget about Captain Hook, let's learn how numbers hook onto other numbers and create the perfect right angle. Grab your compasses. We're about to draw some sacred geometry. Oh, speaking of Neverland, it's funny to think if Pythagoras and Peter Pan met. They both deal with the soul, right? One wants to never grow up, and the other one never wants to die. Imagine them discussing the soul while avoiding adulthood or mortality, sailing through a night sky sprinkled with the tetractys of stars. So, let's sum this up, not mathematically of course. Pythagoras saw the soul as eternal, something that keeps coming back, like bad fashion or 90s nostalgia. If he met Captain Kidd, they'd turn pirate adventures into geometrical quests, hoisting up the tetractys instead of the Jolly Roger. They'd park their theoretical pink elephants right next to the man in the moon while munching on some pie in the sky and contemplating the route to Neverland, which of course would be charted with perfect geometrical precision. Thank you, folks. You've been a great audience. Don't forget to tip your waiters and keep calculating those hypotenuses. Good night. Try 2. Ladies and gentlemen, gather round. Today, we're diving into the mind-bending world of Pythagoras. Yeah, the triangle guy. But hold on to your protractors, because this ancient philosopher had some pretty wild ideas that go way beyond a squared plus b squared equals c squared. We're talking souls, baby. Ah yes, Pythagoras, the man who looked at a right triangle and thought, this would be so much better with more philosophy and less trigonometry. Who needs angles when you can angle for the meaning of life, am I right? But let's get into it. Pythagoras believed in the immortality of the soul and the concept of metempsychosis. Oh, that's a $10 word. Basically, it means your soul reincarnates into different forms after you die. Picture this: you kick the bucket, and boom, you're back as a dung beetle. Talk about being down in the dumps! Now, why did Pythagoras believe this? Because he was the OG hipster, that's why. Way before it was cool to be vegan, Pythagoras was like, maybe we shouldn't eat animals, 'cause hey, what if Grandpa is that cow over there? Yeah, he believed souls could end up in animals. So, the next time you swat a fly, remember, that could be Aunt Gertrude trying to tell you that you're still her least favorite nephew. He was so serious about this that he was vegetarian. Why? Because Pythagoras was the guy at the party who, when you tried to pass him a hot dog, he'd say, do you have any idea whose soul could be in that sausage? And then you'd spend the next 30 minutes debating the spiritual essence of a bratwurst. But let's get a little deeper, shall we? Pythagoras' take on the soul wasn't just some ancient self-help book. No, it was mathematical. He thought the soul was bound by the same harmonious principles that govern numbers and geometry. Yes, folks, according to Pythagoras, your soul is as calculable as a math problem. So you might have a square soul, which is probably why you can't dance. Jokes aside, Pythagoras really did use mathematical ratios to explain the cosmos, music, and even the soul. He figured that just like how there's harmony in numbers and geometry, there's a cosmic harmony that binds our souls. So, in a way, when you're trying to solve 4x in algebra, you're also solving 4y in life. So, your high school math teacher wasn't completely delusional when they said math is everywhere. To sum it up, Pythagoras was onto something interesting. Whether or not you buy into his views, it's pretty intriguing to think that maybe, just maybe, the mysteries of existence could be written in the same mathematical language as a right triangle. So, the next time you're eating a veggie burger and contemplating your life choices, remember, Pythagoras was way ahead of you, and he's judging your every move, reincarnated as your judgmental house cat. That's it for tonight, folks. Remember, life may be complex, but if Pythagoras has taught us anything, it's that there's always an angle to be explored. Keep solving for x, even when x is the existential dread that keeps you up at night. Thank you, and good night. Join us again for another Cognition Chunks after I further retune GPT's humor to my tastes.